Fishy, fishy, fishy!
What's going on, fishy friends? Alright, I just got home from way too long of a day at work. Put my little girl to bed. I think I am going to be a bad boy and skip most of my normal maintenance tonight. I'm not going to bother with my water changes in the discus tanks. They could skip a day and be okay. I did just get a new camera though, and I want to kind of play with that a little bit and see how that looks. So let's take a walk through the fish room and see what's up. I did some long overdue maintenance on this 55-gallon the other day. Yesterday? I don't even know. My brain is fried today. I got rid of most of that floating Rickia that was up here and put it into different tanks. Whatever Rickia is left is what's attached to the driftwood over here. It's becoming detached for the most part. But there's a big floating mass of it up there. So what else we got over here? This bulbitis in the corner has been doing pretty well. It's just sort of falling over and filling in this corner, but it looks pretty healthy. I believe that's a crypt spiralis in the back there. That thing is doing well suddenly. This Anubias over here is doing real good. That Anubias is just kind of sitting there near the substrate. There's more Anubias tied to the driftwood. You can sort of see some of the leaves down there. It's a little hard to see it. Everything else is doing pretty good in this. That red tiger lotus is starting to shoot up a couple of new leaves. Well, the Reminos are looking good. Those two angelfish over there always look pretty good. Their growth rate hasn't been anything spectacular, but they're healthy. They're growing well enough, I suppose. Can't focus on the fish because of those crypt leaves in front of it. I think I'm really liking this camera. It seems to give nice crisp images. A couple of good shots of the Reminos. I'm honestly not even sure what this is in the corner here. This had uprooted itself and was floating around. Might be a... I don't think it's a sword. I honestly don't even know. I'll have to figure out what the heck that thing was. Discus down here doing pretty good. I don't love the shape and the size of these fish, but they've just been kind of doing their thing. They're still here. They're healthy enough, I suppose. I was always a little concerned about that guy. He's always kind of darkened up. He's always by himself over in the corner. I had been feeding this tank food dosed with skimp Metro as an internal parasite preventative and or remedy. I don't know for sure that these guys had internal parasites, but I had never really treated them for that. And I had some concerns about a German blue ram that maybe had an internal parasite, so I started giving the discus some of the same food for about a week. Over here, these guys are doing really good. Their growth rate has been incredible. I feel like in the past couple of weeks they've just grown and grown and grown. Well, their shapes look pretty good. They're nice and round. Good high erect fins, no clamped fins or anything like that. They do show some peppering sometimes. I often don't have a light on over this tank, and oddly enough it seems like when the light is off they get more peppering. When the light's been on for quite a while they seem to show far less peppering. Like right now I would almost say I see zero peppering in these fish. It's also very interesting to me how that guy there has a completely different pattern on his body. He's more of spotted and speckled almost, I would say, versus these guys that are, I don't know, striated maybe is the right way to term their patterning. What else we got? The 10-gallon with the neons is looking pretty good. I have started dosing some Excel in this tank. I've started dosing Excel in almost all my tanks recently as an algicide. I've got a lot of those skimp products sitting on my shelf here that I don't ever use. I purchased them a long time ago, and then I had started dosing fertilizers via the EI, estimative index method, so I stopped using that skimp stuff. I got busy lately and haven't been dosing the EI fertilizers either. But it made me realize I got all that skimp product. I might as well use it. There's no point in it sitting on the shelf. So I'm going to finish off those bottles and then start my EI regimen on some of my tanks. I was not dosing fertilizers in this tank. I consider this sort of my low-tech side over here, so I wasn't dosing anything there. Let's see, I picked up a couple of red cherry shrimp I honestly think they're more of the Bloody Mary variety. I got these at the local fish store the other day, and I don't see anybody. There's one hanging out on that floating rickia. Some of the rickia that was in the 55-gallon tank I pulled out and floated in here. I don't know if the light's going to be good enough to see the shrimp there. I can't even really focus on him. But he's there hanging out upside down underneath that rickia. And theoretically there should be 5 more shrimp in there somewhere. This was the tank that got hit with that velvet or something. I still don't know what's going on with this tank, so we'll skip over that for now. The pistos are looking real good. And some more algae on the glass again. I think a big part of that is a lack of nutrients and a lack of fertilizers in this tank. So like I said about the other one, got to get back to that EI dosing. If we can look past some of the algae, I got algae on the glass, and I believe that's a blue-green algae covering that driftwood there. Blue-green algae is actually a bacteria. It's one of the few algae that can be treated with an antibacterial, like antibiotic, like erythromycin, I believe, is a good choice for that. I'm not going to go down that path. I think I can avoid that by just scraping the glass and getting my fertilizing regimen back in play here. But even without the fertilizers, the plants are growing. I am showing some certain deficiencies. There's holes in certain leaves. That AR back there should be much redder than it is. Maybe you can see my new camera here. It's a Nikon 1 series, if anybody has any comments on that. It is not a DSLR, it's an IRL, I think they call it. It's essentially a point and shoot with interchangeable lenses. It's a step above a point and shoot. I don't need anything too super fancy, so hopefully this will suit my needs. Got a great deal on this, got it used on Craigslist for about $100. What else? Angelfish. Looking big. Looking healthy. Looking like I gotta get them moved. My plan is to move them out of this tank soon. I'll probably swap them into that tank after I move those 4 discus into that tank. But that's a story for another time. 72 bow front got a big trimming and a big overdue maintenance the other day. I hacked back a lot of those Amazon sword leaves that were covered with some blackbeard algae. I took out a whole lot of stuff that had just been up and floating. Got rid of any other leaves that I could see that had blackbeard algae on it. Really hacked back this whole corner over here. And I think things are doing better. This Anubias non appetit I've had for, I don't know, maybe a year or so, and I feel like I've not seen any growth. There's new leaves on those 3 right there. You can see the lighter colored green. Those are the new leaves that have sprouted up in the past week or so. So I think that's pretty impressive. I also added a second light onto this tank. As I talked about in one of my last updates, I'd gotten some new current USA satellite fixtures over here, which left me with my big 48-inch fixture. I've always thought that this 72 bow front was lacking in enough light. This curved front just kind of stayed dark with the single Phoenix Planted Plus back there. Don't get me wrong, that Phoenix Planted Plus is a nice light, but this is a relatively unique shaped tank with the bow front here, so having the second light in the front I think is making a big difference. I picked up that mat of Microsword at the local fish store the other day, and I don't think that would have made it without this extra light in the front, because that would have been in that dark spot. Hopefully some of these other crypts that are here will do well. Picked up some Rotala at the local fish store the other day too, and that seems to be doing really well too. I can't specifically point out the new growth, but in less than a week I've got a lot of new growth on that stuff too, so that's pretty nice, because the tank was looking pretty sparse after I did that big maintenance. And all the fish are looking good. I don't know if they are enjoying that new light, so to say, but their colors are all really popping. It might just be that the light is enhancing their colors. One of my rams, a bunch of Rambos. The dwarf Praycock Slint Rambos with that red finnage looks really good. There's a couple of them in there. The Bosemani look good. That red Rambo, he's looking real good. So overall, all the inhabitants of this one I think are doing really well. An Amazon sword, I cut off the runner with all the daughters. There was probably 3 big runners and a whole lot of daughter plants, and those all kind of sat at the top and shaded out everything else. So I'm glad I got all that stuff down. One of my mono shrimp. There should be 3 left in this tank. I could probably put a whole lot more in. Oh, there's one more. They are very good at hiding. It's very rare for me to see more than one at a time, and it's just difficult to pick them out in the tank unless they're actually swimming around. They supposedly do a good job at eating algae. I mean, I definitely see them grazing. Whether or not I've ever seen them clean something for me, I'd say is questionable. But they've survived, and they've obviously grown, so obviously they're eating. There's two of those dwarf praecox rambos. Melatoni praecox, I think, is their specific name. I think their common name is dwarf neon rambo. I gotta work on getting some lens filters for this camera. I think a polarized filter would really make a world of difference in this fish room. I get so much glare because I got tanks and lights here, and they all reflect against this tank here. So hopefully with this new camera I can sort of step up my video game on this channel and help myself grow with this hobby of mine. Everybody's looking good over there. What else we got? This German blue ram. Put some more Riccia from that 55-gallon tank into here. Some floating there, some floating there. This is a pretty low maintenance, low tech tank. It is a dirt substrate covered with sand and gravel. But the ram looks real good. This is one of the bigger males I have. He had spawned for me with a female that was in this tank around Thanksgiving. But the female died shortly after that spawn. I don't know if that was just too much effort for her or what. But the male looks good, and I'm hoping to pick up some females from a local breeder if I ever get some time. I do have a male and a female ram in this tank, and I don't see them right now. I don't have a light on the tank, so it's hard to find them. It was the female in this tank that I was concerned about having an internal parasite. There she is. You can sort of see her belly is still a little sunken. Forgive the noise in the background, that's why my washing machine. Can't see her too well. But you can see her belly is kind of flat. She's been kind of hanging out at the surface. Unfortunately, she didn't take much of the medicated food. So I hope whatever I medicated in the tank is going to help her. And the juvenile discus, I'm down to 8. I had that one jumper the other day, and I had one die on me a week or two before that. Other than that, everybody looks good. One or two are really starting to show some really nice shape. Unfortunately, the one that jumped had a good shape and a good size on him. Admittedly, a couple of these fish are looking a little stunted already. I'm not thrilled about that. That guy there, he's kind of triangular and not growing so well, especially compared to him. He's a lot bigger. That one's kind of triangular too. They're still kind of young, so I'm hoping that'll sort of grow out. That one there's got an okay shape. He's pretty round. I don't know. The breeder I got these from is the same one who I purchased those 4 from. These 8 juvies are a slightly different strain than those other ones, but I was hoping for at least the same good genes, so to say, from that breeder, and now I gotta question that. I don't love these fish the way I thought I might. I don't hate them, don't get me wrong, but hopefully my thoughts will change on that. Hopefully frequent feedings and frequent water changes on this tank will turn them just as big and round as those other fish. Let's see, I did a real big water change on this yesterday, and here's some of the dirt that has accumulated since. Dirt, waste, feces, uneaten fish food, but it's not too bad, and like I said, I'm going to be lazy tonight and skip my routines. And the proven pair are being stubborn as all hell and will not breed for me again. They've shown some activity. I went as far as increasing their temperature for about a week straight, then did a real big water change with some cooler water to mimic the rainy season in the Amazon, which is supposed to encourage spawning, and that did not happen. I don't know what else to try with these guys. I've tried live food, brine shrimp, I've tried the California blackworms, which is pretty much the only food that they will normally eat for me. I've tried not feeding them. I've tried daily water changes. I've tried not doing water changes for a week. Like I said, I tried upping the temp and then dropping it with a big water change, then with cooler water. I've kept the temp cooler now for almost a week since. We're at 26.2 Celsius, which is, I I don't know, just under 80 degrees maybe, 79, 80. I had them up to about 86 degrees Fahrenheit for a week and then dropped it back down to 82 or 80, hoping that that cool water would induce the spawning. So I don't know. If anybody has any other advice I could try to get these two to start going at it again, I'd appreciate it. But I think I am just stuck with a stubborn pair that doesn't want to do what naturally they should be doing for some reason. Still good looking fish. So I got that going for me. Anyway guys, I think that's about it for now. If you stuck around this far, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think. Leave me a thumbs up. Leave me a thumbs down if you don't like it. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I'd rather you leave a thumbs up. Anyway, comment, rate, subscribe. Don't forget to follow Rich's Fishes on Instagram. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll keep giving you updates. Yeah, there's a little shimmy and a shake from that guy. Alright, video's getting long. Later guys.